Disqualified web shop operator blocks police shutdown. Baha Mar developer Sarkis Million makes another financial bid to save the resort from liquidation. And 2 killings in the capital this week have pushed the country's murder count past last year's deadly figure. We have these stories and more. I'm your host, Ava Turnquest, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. Web shop operator Bet Vegas was granted a court order this week that prevented police from shutting it down after it did not make the cut for the government's conditional gaming license. The gaming board sent a letter to Commissioner Ellison Green Slade last week informing him that the operator had been disqualified in order to close. However, Bet Vegas was granted a court order on Monday to prevent police shutdown as it appeals the gaming board's decision. Bet Vegas was the only disqualified applicant of the 9 web shops that submitted requests for proposal to the government to receive gaming house operator licenses. Earlier this month, Tourism Minister Obi Wilshcombe said Bet Vegas did not meet the critical standards and benchmarks that related to each applicant's qualification and eligibility to hold a gaming house operator license, as well as attributes central to the current and prospective financial viability of the applicant. And by virtue of its disqualification, Bet Vegas was also found lacking in the capacity to create and maintain employment and generate tax revenue. The operator was ordered closed on Monday, October 26. It was revealed this week that the Ministry of Works Building Control Division has issued a stop order at the $250 million Point Resort after a site visit revealed that construction had progressed further than the permit issued for ground preparation allowed. China Construction America, the Point's developer, broke ground on the Bay Street development in August while engaged in a dispute with mega resort Baha Mar over that stalled $3.5 billion Cable Beach project. Baha Mar filed for bankruptcy in U.S. court on June 29th, blaming CCA, its general contractor, for its construction delays. The project has been stalled ever since. In an interview with the Tribune on the sides of the Point's groundbreaking in August, Mr. Christie said the construction of the Point was not intended to start before Baha Mar was completed. However, the Cable Beach Resort's extensive delays had now forced both developments to overlap. Scheduled for a 2017 launch, the Bay Street project is expected to provide 250 construction jobs for Bahamian workers and some 500 jobs within the 200-room entertainment hotel. It will also provide oceanfront residences and an 80-slip marina. Embattled Baha Mar resort developer Sarkis Million is yet again attempting to inject more of his own money to save the stalled Cable Beach Resort from going into full liquidation. International news agency Bloomberg Business reported that Mr. Million made the offer to government officials this week as talks between the Christie administration, Joint Provisional Liquidators, China Construction America Inc., and the Export-Import Bank of China continue. Mr. Million is said to have asked for collateral and senior ranking among other creditors to protect his additional investment as part of his deal to inject an undisclosed amount of funds into the project. This is not the first time Mr. Million has reportedly offered to provide additional money for Baha Mar. Despite having already an $850 million equity in the project, he offered in July to put up $200 million to restart the $3.5 billion project as part of Baha Mar's Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings in the United States. At that time, State Minister for Legal Affairs Damien Gomez expressed incredulity at this offer, wondering where the money would come from. Along with the Chapter 11 proceedings, his offer was ultimately rejected. Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder granted a request this week to have a hearing for the government's winding a petition against Baha Mar delayed until November 25th, originally expected to go forward on November 2nd. This gave negotiators additional time to hopefully reach a deal to resurrect the stalled development. Prime Minister Perry Christie this week sought to assure Bahamians that the government would not roll out a new tax to fund the first phase of its national health insurance scheme. The government has allocated $60 million for that first phase, set to come on stream in January 2016. However, Mr. Christie also hinted that a new tax was under consideration for the next fiscal year, when the scheme would move into its second phase. However, he stressed his resolve in implementing national health insurance, adding that the government would not do anything to upset the economy in deciding how to fund that program in its later stages. Labour Minister Shane Gibson also this week acknowledged that the government was concerned about how it will fund the scheme. Mr. Gibson said the government's concerns were further intensified by the devastation caused by Hurricane Joaquin and how much it would cost to fund restoration efforts throughout the affected islands. As a result, Mr. Gibson suggested that a practical solution would be to introduce a minimal benefits package and then increase the benefits package over time. The fatal shooting of a 45-year-old father of 7 this week pushed the country's murder count to 124, one higher than last year's count. The country is on pace to smash the murder record held in 2011 during the former Ingram administration, which saw 127 homicides. The father, who was identified as Lyndon Taylor, was shot multiple times before later dying on the sidewalk of Tonique William Darling Highway. Mr. Taylor and his brother were held up by several gunmen near his home in Yellow Gardens. His brother suffered gunshot injuries during the attack and was taken to hospital for treatment. However, Taylor died on the side of the eastbound lane of the heavily trafficked highway opposite a local bakery. His killing was the second murder that occurred that day. The first shooting took place at Augusta Street off Ponciana Drive. This incident claimed the life of a 37-year-old man who was standing with a woman in front of a home when four persons pulled up in a vehicle and opened fire. Police have not yet released the victim's identity. While in opposition, the Progressive Liberal Party campaigned on the promise that it had solutions to violent crime, while the Ingram administration did not. However, since winning the last general election in 2012, the Christie administration has struggled to get a grip on the growing problem.
Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Find us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network. Log on to our website, tribune242.com. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune242. And also making news this week, Bahamians yet again rose to the challenge, donating more than $200,000 to the Rebuild Bahamas National Telephone event to aid relief efforts for those communities devastated by Hurricane Joaquin.